right, breaking news. Yes, the BNL, yes, the Biafra Nations League has captured a strategic oil installation as Nigerian government scrambles. All right, good morning, people. Good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome back to Expose News TV. Yes, my people, always here to give you live updates on how things they be. Going into the details without further ado. Yes, the Biafran Nations League has seized control of a major oil installation in the Niger Delta area region, rather. And of course, it's a major severe blow to Nigeria's economic lifeline. The attack took place in the morning as the forces overtook the facility after a brief standoff with the security personnel. My people who say you hear a brief standoff, it was something that was brief and coordinated. It wasn't an anyhow thing that you would wake up to do. Okay, yes, the oil installation, which is one of the largest in the region, accounts for a significant portion of Nigeria's crude oil production and the revenue. The takeover has sent shockwaves. Of course, my people, you would not hear this on the news. You would not hear this anywhere at all because that is what it is. With fears of production disruption and a spike in global oil prices, experts have estimated that the halt in operations at the facility could cost the country millions of dollars in revenue daily. My people, which we know that these millions of dollars in revenue has not been even coming into the country. Things are getting worse. Where is all the money going to? Where is every income that comes into the country going into? My people, it just lets you come to a full-time understanding that everything is a complete waste of time, even if you were to allow it to keep going, or the production were to keep going, the country would still be wallowing in debt, and that is the truth of the matter. Okay, we continue with without wasting much of your time. It says here that the Nigerian government already grappling with the resignation of the military control and forces. President B.L.A. Tinubu has declared, of course, the Biafra movement a national threat, and emergency meetings have been held to address the crisis. However, with security forces overwhelmed and demoralized, the government response has so far been limited to issuing threats of retaliation. My people, on a low key, you should just be listening to these things on a low key because the takeover, the full-time takeover for the Biafra independence and freedom is as close as it can be, and I hope that you people are actually taking note and getting ready for it, because at this point we are on the verge of creating something extraordinary. I repeat, something extraordinary that you might not be so surprised at the end, so that you would be in view of this particular movement that is taking place. It says here, of course, it is a big victory for the Biafra movement, and it says that this is just the beginning. Say the spokesperson for the B.L.A. Nigeria's stranglehold on our people and resources will end, and that is the truth of the matter. This is the aim of everything, to make sure that everything comes to an end, because these people have held down everything that sings or wallows close to the movement of the Biafra movement or anything Biafraland resources. They have held it down and have sworn life and death not to allow us move forward on any ground. And that is just the truth of the matter. They have sworn here and there to make sure that things do not work out. My people, we are not on that level of seeking to make things better or smoother. We have gone with dialogue for the longest of times and it has not worked out. My people, it is time to go towards the way that would make everybody shiver with everything that is happening, and that is just the truth of the matter. And hopefully we will get the desired response that we need. We will get the response that we need, because even at this point we are making moves. We are making big moves, and we are going to actually succeed in everything we are doing. Okay, my people, the next set of things you'll be hearing is and will be the movement upgrades, and the PM Ekpa making a full-time broadcast on everything that concerns the movement. All right, be very careful to listen attentively and enjoy. Thank you.
On International Religious Freedom, which is an independent body that studies religious issues around the world, told us last year that freedom conditions in Nigeria remained extremely poor. Violence across Nigeria impacted freedom of religion or belief, as the government failed to prevent attacks against faith-based organizations and worshipers, with some accusing it of actually fomenting those attacks. So this is recognized. This is recognized in Washington. And of course, these kinds of attacks harm all Nigerians, everywhere in the country. But the attacks have been particularly focused on Christians. And that is something, again, that can be brought to the attention of the US government, that this is a way to raise your cause. The challenge, I have to tell you, is today in Washington, every interest group and everyone is lined up hoping to get the attention of the new president who comes into office. So this will not be easy. So it's very important to find causes that this president and those around him care about. And I think that is going to be the biggest challenge for you all. It was obvious the Biden administration was not particularly concerned about these issues. Unfortunately, I wish it had been. I personally and my institute try to stay nonpartisan. We want to speak to anyone who we can in Washington about policy and engage anyone who's willing to talk to us. But looking at the record of the Biden administration, it was far too willing to deal with the established government and seemed unconcerned about fundamental liberties like religious liberty, and was prepared to dismiss attacks on Christians throughout the country as being part of rural disputes and climate change and other things, when in fact we can understand the deep roots of religion that those attacks reflected, and the fact that there were virulent terrorist groups active in Nigeria, where at times the government and government security forces have seemed as willing to attack the citizens of Nigeria as to protect them from those terrorist threats. So this, I think, is an important issue to bring forward. It's also important to address the Trump administration when it's trying to think about future friends in Africa. That Biafra would be a friend of America. And you are certainly making that case, and you need to ask those you know in America to make that case in America as well. Because again, Donald Trump is, shall we say, a very unique person. That that's not always perhaps to America's benefit, but I think in this case, it's actually very useful. Because Donald Trump is willing to break with the status quo. I do a lot of work on issues like North Korea, and I thought one of the brilliant steps that Donald Trump took was a willingness to meet with the leader of North Korea that no other US president had ever done. So that is something that you can appeal to him on, that perhaps he could meet with the leader of Biafra. That he recognizes the importance of reaching out to people who his predecessors refused to have anything to do with. Donald Trump, maybe there is an opportunity. And I also think those around him, many of those who are coming in, share that willingness to challenge the status quo. And that is what you suffer from. And I will admit, when I first heard about what you were doing, I'm old enough, unfortunately, to remember the terrible war. I was young, but I still remember pictures on TV and pictures of starving children, the horrors that happened with that. And you all know that. I suspect almost all of you had people who suffered in that, friends and family who died and suffered the horrors of that, which can never be repeated. But what the status quo in Washington then is, we don't talk about such things, right? We put them away in a closet somewhere, and we say that issue's finished, nothing to be done, please don't bother us, we have other things to do. And when you sit in Washington, I have to tell you, it's very tempting to it's kind of the ultimate imperial city, where American policymakers view themselves as kind of on top, and their job is to speak to the world and deliver their judgment. Now, I am not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell Nigerians or Africans what to do. I do not live your experience. I do not go through your experience. I have not suffered what you have suffered. I have not had the frustrations that you have had. So the last thing I would ever do is to try to tell you, as if I know better than you, what you should do. But I want to encourage you to speak out, because you can carry the message forward. And that message needs to go to Washington, D.C. And that message needs to go to the White House when there's a new president. It needs to go to the Congress. Now the U.S. Senate will be controlled by Republicans as well. There's a chance there. It needs to go to think tanks, which matter, people who spend a lot of time, they publish lots of stuff. You know, they spend a lot of time thinking in theory, in meeting, but they need to hear your message, because today it's not a message that anyone really wants to talk about. But I think if you can get attention of the president, get attention of other leaders, this is an opportunity. And I want to encourage all of you, you have a cause that is just, a cause that is important. It is a cause that is compelling. And I think then nestle that within the larger argument. You know, this is an administration, current one, where the president only now, as he is about a month and a half away from leaving office, decided to visit Africa. That apparently he looked at a map one day and said, oh, I guess I wasn't there. Now we need, with the new administration, a president who comes in and says, I should go to Africa. I need to look at Africa. I need to understand Africa. And a good place for him to start is Nigeria. And if he starts, he should not start thinking of Abuja. He should start thinking about the people of Nigeria, wherever they live, and understanding how that government in Abuja and its security forces are not serving the people of Nigeria. Because the ultimate responsibility of any government is to protect your safety, is to protect your opportunities, to protect your freedom to worship and to live and to speak, and to protect a democratic future where you can choose your leaders freely and live in a free and democratic society. And that's not being done today by the government in Abuja. And Nigeria could lead Africa. But as I indicated, it looks like it's going in the wrong way. Well, a free Biafra could lead Nigeria. So I want you to take that message to Washington, that listening to you is an opportunity for the United States to help improve Africa and help Africa lead the world. Because as I indicated, again, you look around the world, virtually every country is shrinking. I mean, one can look at Europe, and much of Europe could theoretically disappear. I mean, the estimates on fertility rates, it's extraordinary. Even at China, by the end of the century, people talk about a China being maybe 400 million people rather than 1.4 billion. Africa continues to have vitality. Africa continues to have life, and for the future can show the way. And that is the very good reason for the United States to have a president start with a visit to Africa, not end with a visit to Africa. To turn it around and say, I'm starting with the future. I'm starting with the possibilities. I'm starting with the opportunities. And again, a good place to start, if that's your policy, is Biafra. So let me, as I indicated, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But it looks to me like you know what you want to do. And I want to commend you, again, for your enthusiasm, for your willingness to gather here, for your willingness you've chosen leaders, you're pushing referendum, you're taking steps to make this vision, this dream, into a reality. And I just want to encourage you on that journey. This is your journey, not mine. It's not Donald Trump's journey. It's not an America's journey. Unfortunately, the United States has pushed a lot of people on journeys that didn't work out. But if you start on the journey and you are making the journey happen, then you can come to America and say, help us. So I want to conclude with a vision of a democratic and prosperous African continent, a democratic and prosperous Nigeria, and a democratic and prosperous Biafra. This is up to you to turn that kind of a vision into a reality. And I'm so happy again to see so much enthusiasm and a willingness to gather and to push this vision. And I want to thank you for inviting me to come to speak to you. Because I have to tell you, as someone who's been involved in American politics for a very long time, and has grown a little tired and a little cynical about American politics, I find this energizing, and for me to go back to America. So thank you, Godspeed, and have a blessed new year. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a surprise. They said that we could not make it. You are not going to reach anywhere. They have the weapons. They have the power. They can do anything, and you can't use anything. You can't even use your brain. But this was a surprise. Somebody make some noise for the surprise. Yeah. That make me to remind myself of Biafra and us all here. Biafra is an element of surprise. Biafra is a shining light. Biafra is an element of surprise. Biafra is a shining light. Biafra is an element of surprise. Biafra is a shining. Biafra is an element of surprise. Biafra is a shining light. It's just like when they said that nothing good is going to come out of Jerusalem, Bethlehem. This is the home. One of our brothers here, his name is Bethel, the house of God. And this is what each and every individual of you is. Because Chukwu Okika Abiyama, Bini Megezo Kwanaputa, you're doing the rating, the truth. Blessed love, element of surprise.
All hail Biafra! All hail Biafra! Biafrans, another hands of applause for Mr. Dodd. Right. Okay. As we continue with our program, we call on Sister Olewunne. She will tell us what the group of sisters are doing to help Biafrans back home. Sister Olewunne.
My fellow Biafrans, distinguished guests, friends of Biafra, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Today we gather here not just to recount the past, but to chart a new course towards a future filled with hope and self-determination. We stand on the shoulders of giants with history that stretches back centuries, encompassing triumphs, tragedies, sacrifice, blood, and an unyielding spirit of resilience. This speech is a tribute to the journey of our people, the Biafra people. From the depths of slavery to the emergence of the United States of Biafra, US-B. It is a call to remember, to honor, and to forge ahead. The dark abyss of slavery. Our story begins in the heart of Igbo-land, where our ancestors live in thriving communities, rich with culture, tradition, and a deep sense of kinship. However, the shadow of slavery cast a dark spell over our land in the 16th century. The transatlantic slave trade forcibly uprooted countless Biafran men, women, and children from their homes, shipped them across the Atlantic to endure unimaginable horror in foreign lands. Igbo slaves found themselves in various parts of the world: Brazil, Caribbean, the United States, and beyond. Despite the brutality of their conditions, they carried with them the indomitable Igbo spirit. In these foreign lands, they preserved their heritage through subtle acts of resistance, cultural retention, and community building. Survival and evolution. In the Americas, Igbo slaves were known for their resilience and ability to maintain aspects of their culture, identity. In Jamaica, the Igbos were called able and were reputed for their strong sense of spirituality and community. In the United States, their legacy lives on in the Guland culture of the Sea Islands, where the echoes of Igbo language custom can still be heard. In the story of Olod Ekwano, an Igbo man who was enslaved as a child but later bought his freedom and became the prominent abolitionist, is a testament to our people's endurance and ability to rise above adversity. His narrative, interesting narrative of the life of Olod Ekwano, is a poignant reminder of our past, a beacon of hope and a future, a beacon of hope for our future. The Biafran-Nigerian War, a struggle for self-determination. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, the dawn of independence in Africa brought new hope. But for the Biafrans, it also heralded a period of unimaginable pain and suffering. The political instability and ethnic tension in Nigeria led to the secession of Biafran in 1967. The Biafran-Nigerian War, also known as the Nigerian Civil War, was a brutal conflict that lasted for 3 years, from 1967 to 1970, claiming over 3 million lives of Biafrans. Accidentally, I was born in Biafra, not as a Nigerian. I was born during these years of existence of the sovereign state of Biafra. Many people wouldn't believe that I was born at this time. Perhaps that explains my unquenchable fire of Biafra that I carry. The war was characterized by immense suffering, particularly for the civilian population. The blockade imposed by the Nigerian government led to widespread famine, resulting in the death of millions of people, many of them children. Images of starving Biafran children shocked the world, highlighted the severe humanitarian crisis, thanks to the intervention of many missionaries, organizations through the Biafran airlifts, by the effort of the Joint Church Airlift, the GCA, Catholic Relief Services, the RCS, Caritas International, missionary priests and sisters, particularly the Holy Ghost Fathers. From Ireland, Bishop Shanahan, they did a tremendous job in Olo, and you can still see it today. The wonderful College of Boys and Girls, Bishop Shanahan College in Olo, still functioning, still standing. Many Biafrans lives were saved because of their efforts. Many lives were saved. The missionaries did a tremendous job in Biafra during the war. Despite the overwhelming odds, the Biafran people displayed incredible resilience, innovation. During and even after the war, Biafrans were stripped of everything they owned in the same Nigeria. They were integrated back into, regardless of your possession, network, or your bank balance. The Nigerian government seized all, gave Biafrans a mere sum of £20 to restart their lives. Yet, Biafran, my people, survived. They thrive till this day. But the pains of oppression and injustice remain ingrained in our hearts. The emergence of the United States of Biafra, the US-B. The war ended in 1970 with Biafrans reintegrated into Nigeria, but Nigeria covertly continued the war against Biafra in principle, so the dream of self-determination never died. Over the years, the desire for sovereign Biafra has simmered. The desire for a sovereign Biafra has simmered, fueled by continued marginalization, economic deprivation, and political exclusion. Today, we stand at a critical junction in our history. The United States of Biafra, the USB, represents not just a political entity, but a vision of society founded on the principles of justice, equity, prosperity for all citizens. It is a call for self-governance, where the rights and aspirations of the Biafran people are fully recognized and respected. It is a reclamation of our identity, our rights to chart our destiny. Conclusion, Biafrans, let's go home. It's time to go home. As we embark on this journey towards the United States of Biafra today, let us remember the sacrifices of our ancestors, from the dark days of slavery to the struggle for independence and the quest for self-determination. Let us honor their memory by building a nation that upholds the values of freedom, equity, unity, and progress. We call upon the international community to support our quest for self-determination. Recognizing the historical injuries and the enduring spirit of the Biafran people, we ask for peaceful, constructive dialogue with Nigeria, aiming for a solution that respects the rights, aspirations of all parties involved. My fellow Biafrans, it is time to go home. Let us rise, united and determined, to build the United States of Biafra, a beacon of hope and a testament to our enduring spirit of our people. Take home what it takes to get freedom is different from what it takes to stay free. Remember that. What it takes to get your freedom is different from what it takes to keep yourself free. It's two different things. Independent and staying free and building your nation is two different things.